Mr. Berman is recognized on his amendment to the Cicilline amendment.
Madam Chairman, thank you. Let me say that was a very, very classy thing for you to do, and I appreciate it. The amendment before us speaks for itself. Mr. Cicilline has made a statement on the amendment which I am seeking to amend regarding the merits of it. Mr. Conley has been eloquent in his support of that position. The only thing I would like to add in support of my amendment to his amendment is to take the comments that my friend from New Jersey made in the earlier round of discussion. This is not about marriage. This is not about civil liability. This is not about discrimination in employment or benefits. This is not even about the criminalizing of certain kinds of consenting adults' conduct. All this is about is asking the Secretary to discourage foreign governments from condoning murder and other forms of physical violence that's directed against persons because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. I will accept whatever the will of the majority is in terms of this amendment, but I would make the case this is a pretty constrained and limited, and I cannot conceive of why it would be an objectionable thing to do, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Madam Chair. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, I'd be happy to yield to the
Yes,
gentleman.
Mr. Falama-Vega is.
I fully support, just to make it quick, I fully support the gentleman's amendment to the amendment. I was just wondering, just as a matter of suggestion, if the word religious could also be added into the text. Well, no, I'm just saying because of their religious, comma, sexual orientation or gender identity. Is there anything wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong with it, but this is a little bit like my conversation with Mr. Rohrbacher last night. The fact that I'm talking about a specific country and not about all and every other wrong that is going on does not mean I don't accept the legitimacy of concerns about those wrongs. It means this is the one I wanted to focus on with this amendment.
If the gentleman would yield, our side is ready to voice vote and accept the amendment.
Madam Chair? Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Chabot is recognized.
I'll be very quick here, but what the amendment that we were going to offer, I mean, there's many of us that feel very strongly that there ought not to be physical violence or murder against anybody. Gay, straight, black, white, we don't care. There shouldn't be any physical violence against anybody. Our second-degree amendment was going to say against any person, rather than saying that they're gay, and in fact could have said born and unborn. But we know the problems that would create, and I know we don't want to stay here all night. So we were just going to say against any person. But I think if you look at the amendment, the change that the gentleman made by cutting us out for making a second-degree amendment to change from the word persons to individuals. Now, what the heck difference does that make? It's the same basic amendment, isn't it? And I'll yield.
Would the gentleman yield?
I'd be happy to yield.
There was one purpose in that change. It was to allow us to have a vote, not to prevail.
So, in other
But
words, reclaiming my time.
No,
So in
don't
other
yield
words,
if you
to
want
block,
an answer.
So, in other words, we just said it. In other words, to block us from making a second-degree amendment, knowing that this is not something
the gentleman
that is
yield?
acceptable to us,
Would
because we want to protect everybody.
Tell me why
not just gays or anybody else, but everybody.
Would the
we don't
gentleman
think there ought to be
yield?
physical violence against anybody
Would
under
the
any
gentleman yield?
circumstances.
I will address the issue.
What the other side wants to do is label people, put them in categories, and then that's the way we do this coalition politics. We think you ought to protect everybody, you ought to treat everybody fairly and like human beings, and we don't need to be categorizing people as stray and gay and all the rest. And we've been blocked from doing the amendment. I think I commend the chair for taking a volatile situation and calming it down, and hopefully I haven't revolatilized it. But with that, I'll yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
Madam Chair.
And Mr. Payne is recognized.
Right, this is non-volatile either. I'll yield to Mr. Berman.
Thank you. I appreciate the gentleman using it. And to Mr. Chabot, when Mr. Smith comes up with an amendment regarding the discrimination against Vietnamese Buddhist monks and Catholic priests by the government of Vietnam, I don't say, why are you doing that? There are many governments discriminating against many people for many reasons that are unjustified, whether it be race or religion or ethnicity or national origin. We should turn his amendment into an amendment that opposes all countries discriminating against anyone. What you do when you do that is you try to turn everything into nothing. The fact is, you know, and I know, and we all know that there is some acts of physical violence that take place not based on anything other than the individual's sexual orientation. That's what the purpose of this amendment is. It doesn't mean that we want physical violence against everyone else except people of a certain sexual orientation. It means this is a real problem, and we want our Secretary of State to be addressing that in these countries where that is a problem. So I'm not trying to stop you from speaking to any issue you want. Your purpose in your second-degree amendment was going to be to keep Mr. Cicilline from getting a vote on an issue that he and we and many other people are very concerned about. That was the purpose of your second-degree amendment. And yes, my second-degree amendment was designed to keep you from keeping him from getting a vote on that issue.